While others celebrate the wins,
Yes.
We celebrate the mud.
each episode has a special guest.
Tony-nominated actress, Broadway's Lily Cooper.
Tashir Zameda.
David A. Gregory.
Getting messy with muddy topics.
We are going to be talking about grief journey.
With hilarious moments
Now get over here.
And deep conversations.
I'm ashamed to even admit this, but this is what happened.
This is Into the Mud.
Hey everybody, welcome back to Into the Mud podcast, where others celebrate the wins.
We celebrate the mud. We are coming to you from the Barrel Lounge at the Molland in the West Village with our wonderful guest today, Mehran Khaghani.
Oh, hi.
Yes.
Hi.
Yes.
Thanks for having me. You guys
Thank
are
you
angels.
for being
Hi.
here.
Hi.
Mehran is a fabulous comedian, actor, MC, you name it. You've done, we met at the Comedy Cellar.
That's
the
right.
world famous Comedy Cellar.
It is, in fact, world famous.
It is world famous.
It is actually.
Yeah.
But you've also acted. Tell us about where we have seen you, what you
Oh,
have
like
done.
I've done like dumb TV work over time. And,
Dumb TV work.
Of course
TV
it is.
work.
Of course it
Make
is.
that money.
Sure.
It's better
No,
than dumb
absolutely.
theater work where you get paid $5 a week.
God, theater is insane. I did my first play last year. Steven Soderbergh produced a play.
Oh, amazing.
And I was in it. It was called The Fears. It was an original piece. And it was about like trauma victims who sort of met at the same Buddhist meditation center. And it was just that was a crazy project to land in, because at that point when I first sort of got roped into the project, I was maybe 11 months sober.
Oh, wow.
Right.
Okay.
And my character literally is like someone who copes with pills and booze and is in a trauma center. And like I literally went to a trauma rehab, like a trauma specific rehab. And it was just a crazy thing to like land in. Theater is a whole other bag of nuts.
It's a whole other beast.
It really is a
Yeah.
whole other beast. It's much more like confrontational of your shit, whereas like comedians, we're all running from our problems as fast as we can.
That's
You know, as in,
100% accurate.
and you are an actor.
Yeah, actor, dancer, singer. I live in the musical theater world for the
That's
most part.
Lovely.
Yes.
That's lovely.
Mhm.
And the three of us are Bostonians.
We are shitheads.
We are Bostonians.
Yeah.
We
Massholes,
have-
massholes.
Assholes.
You don't
Did they
have
call
an-
Bostonians
Huh?
shitheads?
No, I mean I think of us as shitheads,
As
and you
shitheads,
find
okay.
that out when you live in the world, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you leave Massachusetts, and you like you grew up in Mass.
I grew up in Massachusetts until I was 18.
You grew up in Mass.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we shove, like I don't know
Yeah.
how you are with your friends, but like you like we're assholes to each
Just
other. We're
needing
vicious.
to be the alpha all the time.
Yeah.
Like I went to school in the Midwest, and
Uh-huh.
I remember being like, I am coming on a little strong out here.
Well, yeah, and like you don't.
I've
tell
never been the alpha, ever.
But no, do you know what it is? It's not necessarily. It's that like we just play rough.
Yeah.
We just play rough. It's like you don't be like, you look crazy. Do you know what I mean? Like we wouldn't
Yeah,
just
yeah,
tell
yeah.
someone like
We're crass. We say like what's
well,
on our
yeah.
mind and we
Say
like
the
throw
thing.
it
But if
out
like
there.
your friend is leaving the house looking crazy, you're gonna be like, bitch, you look nuts.
You look
You
nuts.
looking-
You know what I mean, babe?
Yeah, 100%.
And whereas if you do that, when I came to New York, I was still that way, and I also matriculated into comedy in that world, and they would be like, this fat faggot is your next act. I mean, like literally, that would be how I'd be brought
Happy
up.
Pride again.
Happy Pride.
Happy Pride. And so, like, that would be how I'd be brought on stage. And I loved it. I loved, like, that kind of severity. And I'd be like, our next, thing, give it up for your host who looks like Tom Hanks at the end of Philadelphia. Wow, Tom Dustin. And it was like, we would have so much, like, shitty fun together.
Yeah.
And then I come to New York, and, like, I remember, name a name, don't name a name. Name a
Name a
name, don't-
name. Name a
Huh?
name. We can bleep it out if you
So
want.
no. I mean, so Drew Michael is a lovely comedian who's
Yeah.
like gone on to have a lovely, prosperous career. Great looking guy, and speaks about his experience. So comedy, love it, whatever. And I remember he was going long one night, and I was like following him, and from the side of the stage, I was like, "Take your fucking time, cut a record." I was just like, but that's 100% what we would have done in Boston.
Yeah.
And I was brand new to New York at the time. So we're
Yeah.
going back like 9 years or something.
Yeah.
And I remember he was just like, what the fuck? Like, and perfectly within his rights to be like, what the fuck?
You're like, no, you don't get the dynamic.
You know what I mean?
You don't
I was
understand the
just like,
Boston energy.
Okay, so New Yorkers like are afforded their sensitivities, whereas
Yeah.
Bostonians, we are not.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
we just aren't allowed to, like, again, it's gallows humor. We're going to get into all of that stuff, I'm sure.
Totally.
But like, you know, that is we swing hard at each other, and it can be a sign of affection. It can be a sign of familiarity.
We were talking right before we started rolling about your old coworker.
Oh, Boston accents. Because you don't have a Boston accent.
You don't have a Boston accent.
Or does it slip in here and there?
English is it's like my third language.
Yeah,
Is
we're
there?
going to talk about that. In a
Lame.
second, too.
What?
Lame.
Yeah, no. So insofar as like, but no, I mean it can happen. I'm an accent whore. So if I'm sitting and I'm talking to a bunch of people
You're
with thick
with those
Boston
people.
accents,
Yeah.
it's like, you know, eventually
It'll
something's
come
gonna
out.
come out.
Yeah.
Like if nothing else, it'll
Yeah.
be in like how I lean into. You know?
Yeah, when I dip back home, I definitely like the accent like peeks in a little bit.
Do you have it in the family?
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Yeah. My mom in particular, God rest her soul. She had the thickest like Boston accent.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
And so did like my aunts and uncles.
Yeah.
It was in the family. But yeah, I worked at this. I love ragging on like Worcester accents in
Sure.
particular.
Yeah.
Like Worcester and Boston, they're just so fucking thick.
Yeah.
But I worked at this Italian restaurant in Worcester, Massachusetts. It was called Revezzi's. My brother got me the job there. And we had this girl who was one of our coworkers. Everyone's always ragging on her for her accent, which is like super, super, super thick Boston.
Yeah.
And so everyone's always making fun of her. And then there was this one night she came into work and she was like, "Oh my God, you guys, I was at this fucking bar last night and there's so many fucking queers." Yeah. And I was like, "Amy, you can't say that." And she was like, "Sorry, queers." Just to like clean up the accent a little bit.
100%. And that is sensitivity training.
That is correct. Sensitivity training.
Yeah,
That's
diversity and
it.
inclusion.
Don't just
Yeah,
throw out that
100%.
R.
Yeah.
That R
No.
matters.
And a wicked.
All
A
ours
wicked.
matter.
I
All
always
ours
say
matter.
wicked. That's the one thing is my stronghold is wicked.
You do say wicked.
Yeah, I
a
say
lot.
wicked all the
all the
time. I say
time.
wicked all the
Noticed
time.
that.
Do you say
Yeah.
wicked?
I used to, and I don't
Where
anymore. I think,
in Boston are you from?
Needham.
Needham, that's right.
but
She
both my
needs
parents are from
ham.
Worcester.
Need ham.
Need the ham.
Yeah,
Both
need
my
the
parents grew
ham.
up in Worcester, and then
Okay.
the family before that. Well,
Yeah,
so
I think Blue Oyster Cult was playing. Was it Blue Oyster Cult or Judas Priest? It was one of them where they were playing the Centrum in Worcester. It used to be
Oh.
called the Centrum.
Well, I know. I graduated at the Central.
Okay. Ah!
Yes. But now it's the DCU Center, which
Now-
is my bank that I still have my credit union.
That's crazy.
I'm still DCU.
wow.
Yeah, the Centrum Center.
But apparently he like rode onto the stage. The lead singer rode onto the stage on a motorcycle. And I have this friend who I used to do tons of drugs with, the best, Michelle. You know who you are. But she saw them play in Worcester, and he got off the motorcycle. Was like, "Hey, Worcester, you got another thing coming." I think about, "Hey, Worcester, you've got another
Hey,
thing coming."
Worcester.
Like 8 or 9 times a week. I'll be like, "Hey, Worcester, you got another thing coming." It's my favorite thing in the world. I don't know what the fuck that is, but it's my favorite thing.
I love it. I don't know if this is accurate, but somebody once told me that the slogan for Worcester is Worcester. Who knew?
Sure. I've also heard Worcester, the Paris of the 90s.
I've heard that.
Yeah.
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
Paris of the,
The
90s
Paris
is
of the
incredible.
90s.
Isn't that amazing?
Gorgeous.
Almost
This
as
is, I
amazing.
swear to God. Oh my God. Do you
That
know what it
entrance
is?
with the fan.
What kills me? One, every faggot has a fan now, which like
I
breaks my
don't.
heart. And you needn't.
It's because I'm straight and I have a girlfriend.
And I respect that.
Kelly.
I respect that.
My girlfriend Kelly.
But also, you're a lean person who would, and also like an experienced dancer. I imagine you're not sweaty unless you're dancing.
I sweat a lot, but I don't. I guess I don't sweat out in public.
That's what
Yeah.
I sweat. Like I'll be like, I had a big idea, and like sheets. Do you know what I mean? I'll be like, oh, I remember eggs. I have to buy eggs. Like it's
Oh
just.
my God, those eggs, they're
bulb.
stressful.
It's awful. It's the worst thing about it. Like the amount. So this, I have carried a fan for
love
like
it.
probably 14 or 15 years.
Good for you.
And like
Before Drag Race, before it became a thing.
Mama, like a million years ago, I had a fan because it was like I tried everything. Like I did like the Whitney towel, the Whitney Houston towel, where I would just have like a dish
permanently
rag
tucked
on my
into the shirt.
person
Yeah,
and
yeah.
be like, help. I would do that, and like that just looked awful. Like I'm not Sinbad. I can't. You know what I mean? I'm not wearing like a rayon parachute pant. I can't pull this off. So it was the fan was a compromise. The fan was like what I did so that I would just not disgust people. Instead, I would rather them
helps.
think of me as like an uncontainable homo.
You're not disgusting.
I'm kind of gross.
You're
not gross.
wonderful.
You should
You're
see me.
amazing.
You should see me in practice. It's gross.
I see you in practice every
Well,
night,
we'll
and I love
insert
it.
like a video of you at the gym so
Yeah,
people
yeah,
can
yeah,
like
yeah,
get
yeah.
a better understanding.
They can
of you.
actually.
Jim, see, that's when I'm.
That's
honestly,
when you're not sweating?
Huh? No, but it's like, I sweat clean because I sweat so fucking much. It's just like
Water.
It's water.
It's Fiji. You know what I mean?
Evian?
It's-
Anyone want an Evian?
Yeah, 100%. Just right into it. It is. It's lovely. Yeah.
So I want to go back. So we talked a little bit about. You said English was your third language. Okay, let's talk about because you're from Boston, but you're Iranian.
I'm
right?
Iranian. Yeah.
And
yeah.
you
Immigrated to America when I was 3.
Yes. What was your like beginning? Tell us a little bit about like your sort of your journey.
My journey. So the Iranian Revolution, it really started like brewing, like the sort of the Islamic fascists who ended up coming into power, the fundamentalists. They started gaining power like in the mid 70s. They started to sort of like develop, and the smarter Iranians got out in the mid 70s. They got out in 75, 76. They saw it coming. They were tipped off. And my father and mother, they weren't as convinced that it was going to gain a foothold. I mean, like, imagine if Trump just like kept getting reelected.
Well, exactly.
And it is the same morons. That is these Islamic fundamentalists and mouth breathers who believe in a right-wing MAGA agenda. They are the same level of stupid.
Yeah.
They are identically dumb. And both of them look to dismantle education so that more stupidity is created and they stay in power.
Of course, yeah.
But so my father was convinced that it was going to be a passing fad. And they waited and they waited and they waited. And then 1979, we came to America, which was like kind of like, you see a lot of like 1979ers. You hear about like 75ers, 76ers, or you hear about 79ers. Because 79, it just like, it took a corner.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's when like my brother came home from school one day and he told my mother that he was like, Mom, I came in first. I assembled my rifle the fastest. And 2 weeks later we were in America.
Gotta
She was
go.
like, it's a wrap.
Yeah.
And my mother herself was on a list to be executed for writing a feminist article, like an editorial. There was some politician who was running on the platform of taking away women's right to vote.
My God.
And my mother wrote this like scathing article. It was like, any man who denigrates the women of Iran denigrates Iran. And like, she came in hot that way. And they were absolutely rounding up troublemakers when the revolution happened. And so she was on a list. Later on, I found myself on the same list.
Oh my
Wow.
God.
Yeah.
You were on the same list
For being a homo. So
at age
3-year-old?
3?
No. So my father.
That little 3-year-old faggot.
Imagine. Well, first of all, dogs knew, dead people knew, the Ayatollah knew, everybody knew. So like, she
You're
presented.
like, I've had this fan since I was 3.
My father, when he dropped us off into America, told my brothers, he was like, keep an eye on that kid. He'd sell his ass for candy. He said that to my brothers, and I was
I mean, I would too, though.
I was like, and candy?
Yeah. What?
So
what,
like,
what,
are
what
you
are we
kidding
What are
me?
you
Like,
talking about? Yeah.
No one tried harder to get molested in this mortal coil than I did. I like the kind of host role I walked on the daily. And, you know, to no avail. Absolutely. It's never who wants it, right? It's never who wants it.
Oh my
God.
Too confident.
Too
confident, too much of a talker.
Yeah, that's really what it is.
Too much of a
They got high performance anxiety because I expect the dick to work and yada yada.
Oh my
God. So,
I love it.
do you know what so my father died, and
How old were you?
I was at the Cellar when it happened, and
gosh.
everybody saw that I was like low key losing my mind, and they like got me into therapy. The Cellar, like, it's a very special place.
Yeah.
So, I had to like do all of this paperwork to free up my dad's will. In Iran, the rule is that all children have to co-sign, otherwise they don't release any of the funds.
Oh wow.
Wow.
So
was his property and his funds still in Iran?
all in Iran.
Oh,
He never, that's what I'm saying. My dad waited and waited and waited, and he never really transitioned to America.
Oh wow.
He kept thinking that things would get better. And by the time they it became clear that they weren't going to, at that point, Iranian money was worth 1/7,000th of its original, and it has gone
down.
lower since.
Wow.
So it was worthless outside of Iran.
Yeah.
So, and he was a doctor, you know what I mean? Like, what was he going to do? Transition to America? And like,
Yeah.
he was 18 years my mother's senior, so it wouldn't have been like he was an old man. I
Yeah.
had an old dad. I was born of old cum. Old cum babies. I see them. I see you.
Old cum babies.
I love an old cum baby, and isn't that a song? Old
come out
cum
walking with
baby.
the cane.
Yeah.
God,
Oh, you know it.
exactly.
You know an old cum baby.
Wow.
You know a fresh cum baby
fantastic.
and an old cum baby, and never
And
the twain
there's
shall meet.
nothing in between.
They know they
You're
can't.
fresh or you're old.
Opposite ends of the table. Can you pass the salt?
Can you tell an old egg baby?
Huh?
Can you tell a fresh egg baby or an old egg baby?
That's interesting.
That is
Like, have you
interesting.
figured out the
Geriatric
combination?
versus-
Well,
Yeah,
no,
geriatric
because you know what it is? It's like
versus
if,
old cum.
If the kid makes it out of the lady, then it's a home run. That I don't
Yeah.
think of it as old egg
Yeah.
baby
Yeah.
because women have that sort of biological imperative of like it just won't work.
Yeah.
But that you see an old cum like Charlie Chaplin nutting in women at like 78 or
Oh,
something.
God.
It's like Jesus Christ. You know, it's like the baby's born with
Wait,
like
is that a
And the
thing?
dog-
Hitler
donkeys.
mustache.
Did Charlie Chaplin make pornographic films?
No,
No, no,
God,
no.
if only. But thank you for
So I was
Silent?
like, I was really confused. I was
Just
like,
By the
what?
way, if
yeah,
they
like
were to make
full
a Charlie-
silent orgasms, like
that genius.
just instead of twirling an umbrella, he's just twirling his D, like.
Can I tell you that that's a very funny place to take that? Because, like, there's a whole thing about guys who make no noise when they come, and the idea of Charlie Chaplin being that guy is so fucking funny.
Oh my god.
That is so funny.
Okay, so
we have to get to the
speaking-
depressing part of it.
speaking, we have to get to the mud. Right now, we are all sunshine and lotus and cum jokes.
But
we
if-
got to get to the
If they
mud.
were to make a Charlie Chaplin porn, by the way, you could play him. I want you to know that, like, not to be a dick about it.
It would have
but,
to
like,
be a Charlie Chaplin gay porn.
well, obviously.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I'm not going to make you
Thank you.
switch hit just
Oh,
to honor a Hollywood legend.
Thank you. I really appreciate that.
You're very welcome.
casting director.
Oh my god. Okay,
okay.
85 minutes later.
85
now we are
minutes
gonna we are
later.
gonna jump into the mud.
Yes.
So speaking of old cum and new cum and birthing children, we are here to talk about dead parents.
Dead mom, the
Yes,
Dead
Dead-
Moms
Dead
Club.
in particular,
Moms
dead
Club.
moms.
Dead Moms
Yes.
Club.
And I already am thrilled about this because you clearly have a fucked up sense of humor, and so do
Yes.
I, as do all of my siblings. The way
Yeah.
we
Yeah.
How many do you have?
like, oh my gosh. Okay, so I have. This is confusing. I have 5 brothers and 1 sister,
Okay.
but only 4 of us are from my mom. So my mom and dad were married. They had 4 kids. I'm the baby of 4. And then they got divorced. My dad had 3 more kids.
Okay.
So the 4 of us are directly from
But
my
you're
mom.
the youngest of your mothers.
I'm the youngest, yeah.
I'm the youngest of my mothers.
How
Okay,
many?
How many are you?
We are 3 in total. Yeah.
Okay. And when did your mom pass away?
January 15th of this year.
Oh my gosh. Mehran, that
Still-
is so soon.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's,
When
like,
did
so
When
recent.
did yours die?
Oh, 2018.
No,
Like, that
that's
was, like,
not nothing.
decades ago.
That's not nothing. And
No, I
actually,
know.
this will be really
Yeah.
interesting for me to hear, like, what that looks like for you.
Yeah.
You know, 6 years later, whereas I'm 6 months later.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
It's still so quick. I think even in the midst of my dealing with that grief, I think it was even we did another episode about grief, and I talked about how very quickly I turned around or thought I turned around.
Uh-huh.
It was like my mom died, and then like 3 weeks later, I was doing a production of Jesus Christ Superstar.
Wow.
And it was
that's
just
a
like,
wacky
and I was
one
like,
to
I'm
be doing.
fun, I'm here, I'm kikiing with the cast, like everything's
Yeah,
great. But then
yeah.
really, I was getting drunk at night and crying.
Got you.
Like, but we had to just kind of step up and like pretend like everything was fine.
Yeah.
How old
That
is
is
your
the
mom?
nature of entertainment, though, isn't it?
It is.
Yeah.
That's
It
what
is.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
the complicated
Yeah.
thing. And then we do feel the imperative to like make it a joke or make something funny and be like, look at me, I can laugh at this really sad thing. But then underneath there really is so much pain.
But that's not
and-
just entertainment. I mean, like the world isn't. I was thinking about this on the ride here, on the train ride here. I was just like looking at people, and I was thinking like, God knows what any one of these people is going through at any given
Correct.
time, right? You have no idea like what financial stress, human stress, family loss. You don't know where anyone is at. And the world isn't really built, especially a city of 8 million people. It's not
Yeah.
built for anyone to like stop the bus and be like, "Hey,
How are
I need something."
Yeah.
Or like I am feeling a particular way right now.
Yeah.
And yet like life didn't stop. The world didn't stop just because my life is fucked. Or
Yeah.
I'm like crawling on all fours with razor blades in my pockets. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You still have to get on the train. You still have to get out of the train. You still have to face the day. It's like,
Yeah.
but there's actually something like merciful about living in a city of 8 million people in a moment like that because it's so diffuse.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like life is just so I don't know. It's just there's such a current and there's such a thrust that like you don't even have to work to bury it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's true.
Yeah.
No, you're absolutely
Particularly
right.
in New York. Like,
Yeah.
and with what we do. Like,
Yeah.
just the shove down perform.
Yeah, dick jokes. Dick
Yes.
jokes in the face of pain. Yeah.
Yeah. How
100%.
soon after she passed did you start doing comedy again?
I took 5 weeks off
Yeah.
in total. Well, I mean, like a week and a half of that was literally going to Boston, being there at the
Yep.
moment of her death, planning the.
You were with her.
I was with her.
Thank
I
God.
was
What a
like
gift.
her.
I
I
was
was her
too.
doula. It was like,
Oh wow.
yeah.
What if
What
you're
was she-
comfortable?
I'm
with-
totally. I'm an open. But I was thinking about this too. It's like I'm here. At least the best part of me is here to be of service to anyone who might hear this, who like is about to go through this, might go through this. So it's like to that extent, I just want to be an open book, right?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So my mother was really clear about wanting to die, which is a gift because my husband's mother died a month ago,
Yeah.
just a little over a month ago.
Oh my God.
So it was great to be the canary in the coal mine for him because now we have watched 2 women die. We both were there at the moment of expiry. So we kind of knew what to expect when his mother was dying. But that is its own trauma. Being there when they die.
Yep.
Was that nuts
Were
for you?
Were you there?
Yeah, I was there. We had gone back. We weren't see. I don't know. What was your mother's situation? What was she sick
Respiratory disease.
Okay,
In the
okay.
end, smoking to the bitter end.
with? My mom as well. She had COPD
Yep.
and she had emphysema.
Okay.
Yeah, she was
Wow.
a double whammy.
Yeah.
Yeah, but then she ultimately died. That's the weird thing. She died from the flu. Like,
But
but really, it was
yeah.
this. It was the overwhelming other symptoms that came along with
Right.
being a lifelong smoker. She also had rectal cancer, so she had been through like a whole bunch of everything.
Yeah.
But being with them in that final moment, is so weird.
What
It's
does
weird.
it feel like? What is it? What are some of the
It's a fucking blast, honestly. It's
Really?
really fun. No, I'm kidding.
Well, there's
No.
so one is that a lot of times people aren't there. In fact,
Yeah.
most of the time people do not die surrounded by their loved ones.
Yeah.
And if I can give people anything, it's try to be there for that.
Yeah.
Like there is such a value, like there's no what ifery.
Yeah.
The more you have that you can connect to, even if it's the worst thing in the entire world, even if
Yeah.
it's trauma,
Yeah.
for me at least, it was tangible. It was measurable in space, time, and distance. Like that is, I was there for her. I know exactly how much she suffered, and I know that I was able to be there to be like, oi, morphine and
To help mitigate that pain. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oi, like I was able to really like do everything within my power to make that transition as smooth as possible for her. Was that the
Wow.
truth?
I want to talk about that. That's one thing I haven't like really talked about with people, but I've thought about is like the feeling of hitting that morphine button.
You hit it.
Yeah.
That's
yeah.
interesting.
It
Wow.
was automated at it became automated when she went into hospice.
Yes.
But before she transitioned into hospice,
Wow.
it was like, we just want to go. And there's still like a lock on how many times you can
Yeah.
get the morphine because they don't want you to overdose.
Yeah.
And they don't want you to like unwillingly like kill your parent.
Yeah.
When they're not ready to go. But you can go and you can hit that button. And I remember hitting that button being like, I'm putting my mother into like a comatose state here,
Isn't
but
that
it's
scary?
to help her.
It's so
It's
scary.
it's such a weird dynamic to think of.
It's
that.
so scary. It's not
Yeah.
even like there is a feeling of like, am I killing this person?
Yes. Yeah.
Like, should I like? It looked like she bounced back for a second, and here I am actually like making it impossible for them to bounce back because I'm administering all of these like benzos and barbiturates and opioids.
Are we forcing them down that path?
Yeah,
Because you have
as
to
in-
take the info that the doctors are giving you and make your best judgment out of it. But we don't know.
So when my mother was dying, she had like, I would say of her dying words, 85% of it was "I want to die."
Wow.
She kept saying it with all of her, and we found out after the fact that because of the COPD, she was really probably only getting about 70% oxygen to her brain anyways toward the end. So literally with like her last conscious thought, she was like, I want to
I want to
die.
go.
Wow.
And so like the strength of of kind of spirit that she had, that every time she would come to, she would say it again.
Yeah.
And despite the fact that it was like a cacophony of feeling, of spirit, of emotion, of history, like I would just be like, I got you, babe.
Yeah.
Let's go.
Yeah.
Like, and rounding up the nurses to push it. Like,
Wow.
let's get her out of here.
That's beautiful for you to honor her wish, though.
Yeah.
Because a lot of people will fight it. That's why a lot of people
That
have
push and
living
pull.
wills and saying these are my dying wishes. Don't put me on life support. Don't do this. But a lot of people disrespect that often because they're like, I need my parent to stay here. Selfishly, they need it for them. So for you to honor,
it's just,
but
but
people
when
do
you're
that.
in the room,
But
when you're
people-
in the room,
people-
you see it, and it's like, oh,
but
are you
people do
kidding?
it all the time.
It's
they
such a
don't
broken
allow their
thing.
parents to go or their loved ones to go when they want to go.
Flip side, Noah's mother, my husband's mother, wanted every life-saving precaution.
Yeah.
She wanted
See?
to be kept alive no matter what.
Wow.
And that's like, babe, your quality of life, like, what are we talking?
Yeah.
You know? And she had like long lost, any kind of, semblance of her. It was fading,
How old were both?
My mother was 77. Noah's mother was 79.
Wow.
Yeah. How old is your mama?
66.
Okay.
She was
I'm
young.
really sorry.
Thank you. I'm sorry for you. As
There
well.
is like,
Yeah.
I mean, this is interesting. Did you have a good relationship with her?
I did. I had a good relationship. Yeah, it's very complicated. I mean, whose relationship with every parent is not complicated. Yeah, it's a hard question to answer. I did have a very, very close relationship with her. In the latter years, she was kind of, deteriorating mentally. That really challenged a lot of our relationships with her. So I think but I did think subconsciously there was a lot of like self-sabotage there. She was pushing people away because she, for years, was like, I'm ready. I want to go. I don't want to be here anymore.
Yeah,
Even
for
before she was
years.
like sick.
Yeah.
It was like years.
Yeah.
And when my brother,
Do you think of that as depressive?
she was 100% depressed.
Yeah.
Oh, she was deeply
Mine too.
depressed. And it was hard for us because there were ways in which we wanted to help her and tried to help her, but she didn't want the help.
This
and
is
wouldn't
the
seek
stuff.
help. And yeah, sorry, go.
No, I'm just
Yeah.
thinking like it's like conversations like this are so important because I don't know that like as a species that we've mapped out what it is to be the gay son of a depressive mother. That like there isn't enough conversation around like becoming this sort of like pleasing feminine creature
Yeah.
as a like having been raised by like a
Maternal.
but like someone
like-
we worshipped who we watched suffer.
Oh, that's it.
That's
It's the suffering.
really it's
Yeah.
really nuts. It's really nuts to survive that.
Yeah. I think what the hardest thing for me, we talked a little bit about this in a previous episode, was I had a good relationship with my mother. However, in addition to, she was the person I always looked up to and aspired to be more like. And she was the person who kept me going. She's the person who helped me fight for my dreams and was encouraging. So these are the beautiful ways and the legacy that she has left with me. But I think there was so much about her that she was a survivor. She had a crazy fucked up life. She was a recovering addict. She
In Worcester?
In Worcester? That's weird.
You don't say.
I'm
Drugs
such a
in
dickhead. I'm
Worcester.
such a
No.
dickhead.
It gets me every goddamn time.
Oh my God, I love
every
it.
time.
But fun fact, she didn't die in Worcester. She died in Gardner.
Respect.
So, yeah. Gardner. I think
Gardner.
it's the furniture capital of the world.
That would check out.
Gardner. There's like
Right?
a
Yeah.
giant chair as their
A
mascot.
chaise longue
Anyway,
in the sky.
yeah.
yeah.
Well done, well done. You should go to comedy.
I'll consider.
Has anyone
my
ever told you?
God, Yeah.
Funny.
Wow.
It's never that.
Use
never
this in one
plays
of
out
your
well.
bits.
Well, you should become a comedian. Never true.
Never.
The job is
No.
hell.
It's the worst job on the
Yeah,
planet.
you have to be able to do the job, not just
Oh
be
my God.
hilarious.
But that was the hard part about me when she passed was that she was always my beacon of hope and inspiration and strength because she was such a survivor, having survived and overcome so many things. When she was gone, I was like, wow, who do I have to look up to now in that regard? Like I drew so much strength and courage
And it was Gaga.
from her, and it was Gaga. Yeah. And now it's gone.
Who was it?
What?
Who was it? Who did you?
My mom.
No, but after she passed, who did you?
Who did I transfer that
Yeah.
to? I don't know. I don't really
Yeah.
know. I think
I
I'm
don't
still
think it
I'm
finds
still
a home.
seeking.
Yeah.
I'm still
Yeah.
seeking it.
It's so interesting.
Yeah.
Do you? What was your relationship like with your mom?
So it was super charged. You know, as a child, she was Cardinal North. She was everything to me. She taught me everything about love, about spirituality, where she's descended from a line of female mystics, this matrilineal line of Iranian mystics, and she had no daughters. And like
All
I came
boys.
out like, right, like he'll sell his ass for candy. You
Yeah.
know what I mean?
Wow.
So, and I don't even think of gender in that way, but I mean, I certainly embody a lot of like the feminine, like it came to me, not
Yeah.
to look at my brothers, poor things. They lack for any feminine sensibility. What a limited life. But, but one of my brothers is amazing. The other one is just spawn of hell.
Great. He sounds really hot. I'm already interested.
Oh, no. He looks like Gargamel. He looks like Gargamel.
Oh, okay.
So,
I mean, what
you
is
know,
it?
no, it's no,
Okay.
no.
All right.
No.
Okay, the other one.
Bad posture, balding.
Sign me up.
Ah,
Keep going.
are you
I'm
into
kidding.
that?
I'm into everything. At this
I
point,
love that.
I'll
Same.
I'll take this couch. I don't know.
Same.
Yeah.
Cushions
So
look velvety.
I'm not a say no kind type of girl. But so, have you heard of the ACE test?
Yeah.
ACE test.
The
ACE
ACEs,
test,
the
right?
trauma. No.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's adverse
Elaborate.
childhood experiences.
Oh.
Adverse
Yeah.
childhood experiences
Oh,
test.
should I
You
take
go
this?
through-
Yeah,
You should,
absolutely.
100%. You
It's
get,
a
like-
10-question test,
Oh, that's not
and
bad.
it's yes or no, and at the end you get your ACE score.
Okay.
Right. And so, you know, there you can be a 1, you can be an ACE 2, an ACE 3, but then it's ACE 4 plus. It doesn't matter after that.
Okay.
Right.
And 4+ means you had a crazy childhood.
It means that
Yeah.
you suffered at least 4 what are considered
Okay.
adverse childhood
Oh.
experiences.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh.
You
I
would-
gotta
and
take
I think
this
you'd score so
test.
high on
I'm
that.
an 8.
I'd be like, I got
You're
a
an
10. I
eight.
got a
I'm
10.
an
You're an
ACE 8.
8.
Okay.
Right.
Wow.
And I'm saying that to color what my relationship was like with my mother.
Yeah.
Like once I hit adolescence.
Yeah.
Right. As
That's
in-
when things shifted.
it turned ugly
Okay.
fast. Well, it probably just shifted earlier than that, but it got real ugly fast.
Do you think it was because of your sexuality?
It 100%
100%.
was. So like it became permissible to beat me starting at the age of 3
Oh
because
my
I was
gosh.
gay and
I'm
presented
so
as
sorry.
feminine. And
Just your mother? Or
no,
your
my
father
brother,
as well?
my oldest brother, who was 10 years my senior, was given the sort of authority to enforce that.
Wow.
And
So he was physically
was-
abusive to
he,
you.
I mean, black eyes and pushed downstairs and like bashed
Wow.
against furniture and like kicked in the face and stomach. Like it was a truly
That's
horrible.
horrific. That's horrific.
It was horrific, right?
Yeah.
It was horrific. Like I didn't
I'm
end
so
up in a
sorry.
trauma rehab because, like, it's
Because
like
someone made you fun of you in
you
the
know, like
schoolyard.
sometimes
yeah.
I couldn't afford wine. Like it wasn't that.
Yeah.
So, but
Wow.
it just is what it is. And so the thing about ACE8 is that like there's like or 4+ is that there's an increased likelihood of diabetes, obesity, hypertension,
Yep.
absenteeism from school and work, getting fired, addiction, and alcoholism. I mean, it's just it, and the correlation is undeniable. That like 4+ is you just see more of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, you know, that losing a parent that I had that kind of complicated relationship with, was who, like, in one respect, it was like I was so proud to be descended of her, like, clear spiritual line and her magics and her gift for blessing and protection. And in the same breath, you know, someone who I was on the receiving end of a lot of her ignorance and prejudices and untreated personality disorder.
Yep.
You know?
Yep.
And I wasn't like, I would show up for birthday, Mother's Day, send flowers, all of that. But I did not willfully engage in her life toward the end of her life. There was only, like, I would go to help with something and then she would, like, throw my work away and do something that was, like, harmful. And the fact that she maintained a relationship with that oldest brother who was as fucked up as he was
Yeah.
to me, who, when she died, tried to disinherit me. He had manipulated his way into her finances over the years, and he literally tried to make sure I didn't get a thing.
What a fucking...
I had to sue the fucker. Oh, yeah, no.
Do you still want to fuck him?
I mean, he sounds
It gets
really
hotter.
hot.
It gets hotter.
Yeah,
the
talk to
worse,
me.
The
Talk
worse
to
the
me.
character, the worse the character. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
No, he's utterly unfuckable. And also like wildly autistic. I had to like come to terms with like, so doing this play, the
Yeah,
trauma
that was-
Buddhist play, we did this exercise in it called the Tonglen, And a Tonglen is a form of meditation where you think about someone who's hurt you, and you think of how they might suffer. And if you can't think about how they might suffer, then you picture them as a child. And in your mind's eye, in your imagination, you give that person something to alleviate their suffering. And we, through rehearsal, through performance, 8 shows a week, I did that exercise on my brother mentally probably 60 or 70 times. And what I really saw was that he was someone who absolutely came into the world deeply and importantly autistic, like very much unable to acclimate socially, doesn't read social cues, and like a naturally nervous, anxious person. And he didn't get the support that he needed to develop in a way that would have turned him into a decent person.
The bucket list of mental health circumstances that you grew up around and nobody was able to really pinpoint it and address it and help you out or help anybody out.
Well, and I'm like 12 years your senior or something. And so it was even less prevalent then. It was like, if we're looking at the late 70s or
therapy.
80s. Oh, no. Both of my parents were in neuroscience, and they were like, mental health is for the weak.
Yes.
It was like, are you ready to get the board? Why do you have a job? What are you doing? What are we doing?
So
the stigma runs deep.
Yeah. It is that. It's a lot of that. It's a lot of pride. It's a lot, and the number of things that pride like sort of precludes us from getting help with. It's just so when someone dies and you see all of the ways that like you wish that they had gotten help, you wish that they had pursued their own betterment, like for as in, I wish she had been more selfish in pursuing like a peaceful life, a life where she would feel good, and so you're grieving and your brother is trying to get you disinherited, and there's regret, and there's the trauma of watching this person expire, of watching them turn cold.
It's nothing happens, but everything happens. That's what I felt. I remember watching my mom, and I saw her take a final breath, and then it just was still. But it was like nothing had changed, but you could see that everything had changed. Like the lights had gone out.
Wow.
It's something. That's how I felt.
Did you feel it? Did you feel the
kind of? Yeah, a little bit.
Energy or like the.
I didn't feel any like rush of energy or anything like that, but I did just feel I felt stillness. Like it felt like there was suddenly within one instant somebody was there and now somebody's not there. And nothing, even though nothing has changed, they haven't moved their body, they didn't close their eyes, nothing, it just was suddenly they're gone. That's how it looked for me. I don't know what it felt like for you.
Their breathing slows over time. How long did it take her to die?
We were in the hospital with her for 5 days.
Huh?
We were with her for 5 days.
How about from the moment you withdrew support?
It was she was on
that's
hospice.
What happens,
she was
right?
on hospice for 3 days.
But she had breathing. I imagine she had.
She did
breathing
have
help.
oxygen. Yeah.
And when did you pull out the oxygen?
It was that last day.
That last day. So that's what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
There is a point where you say, okay, withdraw all support. And the good news is that the brain naturally produces opioid chemicals when we die. So the fact that you're flooding them with painkillers is actually, it's right in line with the natural dying process anyways. But, you decide at some point that you're going to let them begin. I had never heard this before, that death is a labor. I had never heard that before. It's like birth. It is a labor.
Wow.
It's just work. And even though my mother said over and over again she wanted to die, her body, it has its own agenda of staying alive. So you withdraw the support and still it's trying to breathe.
It fights.
Fuck. It's like, just die. And we don't have that. We don't have, I think in Sweden, they'll be like, all right, here you go.
Yeah.
Right.
Actually, I believe
they propofol you out.
They legalized euthanasia in Oregon, I believe.
Somewhere,
I think Oregon or Washington, it's now legal. But yeah.
But either way, I mean, honestly, I hope I get 13 hours of opiates before I go. I mean, if I'm going to relapse, but
let it be on the last breath.
Yeah. Seriously.
I chased the dragon long enough as a living person. It would be nice to, I can't wait. But,
this is so interesting to hear, because I have not lost a parent, but, in talking to folks who have, there's so much that we don't talk about, and there's so much unknown that has got to be so jarring when you experience it in real time. Why do you think we do not talk about this?
It's that phenomenon on the train, I think.
Yeah.
It's that, like, you know, we just aren't encouraged to present ourselves as we are.
Yeah.
That isn't how the world works. I mean, like, and that's going back to time immemorial. Like, you can, like, I watched The Gilded Age this weekend. I was just watching The Gilded Age, and you think about all of, like, the ceremony and all of the presentation that people lived with. And, or, you know, you think about the 50s, and you think about, like, that, like, kind of Stepford wife, that Maytag mom sort of, like, energy, and that kind of obfuscation of self, you know? I think that most cultures are prohibitive in that way. I think ethnic cultures do better with it. Like, we do better with like just belching emotion for good or for ill. But no, the world at large is not authenticity friendly. I don't know what to tell you.
I'm with you. I completely agree. People don't want to talk about it. If it makes you uncomfortable, they want to stay away from it. Death is a very uncomfortable circumstance and a very uncomfortable situation because it's something that we all inevitably will face. It will be coming to every single one of us, but people don't want to talk about mortality or face their own mortality. It's an uncomfortable, sticky subject. And people don't know how to talk to people that have lost someone. Do you get that? Like, people get so uncomfortable when I'm like, oh yeah, my mom died, and they're like, I'm sorry. Oh, like, people get so choked up.
Did you know how to talk to people?
No, not really until I went through it.
It's like
so I don't blame anybody.
So what do you want to hear? What are the things that, or what do you not want to hear? What are the, like, what's the
I
best
love
way?
a good hug. I do love
a
a
hug,
good
or
hug.
even just like oh wow, I'm so sorry.
Yeah.
And you're like, thank you. Like,
Yeah.
it's simple as that.
It's really just
It's really
that
simple.
the person is just letting you know that they're not an animal. It's
Yeah.
like, just show me that you're not an animal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But yeah, you're right. It's like people immediately are like, I don't. It's kind of like when someone's like, yeah, I just went through a breakup, and you're like, oh, I'm sorry, but like, do you want to talk about it? People just get awkward. You're right. We don't really purge or express our emotions. Emotions are taboo for some reason in
Well,
America.
it's, you know, everybody's like, authenticity. It's so important. That authenticity, like that Brene Brown, that kind
Yeah.
of like, it's
Yeah.
authentic. We love authenticity. We don't want people to come as they are.
Yeah.
We don't want people to like present with their baggage. You know, people are in general encouraged to bury their unease and disease and mental illness. We are sort of trained to isolate when we make other people uncomfortable.
Yeah.
It
Well, because
is-
it's messy. We want
It
a
is
neat
messy.
package. We
Yeah.
want the box that's wrapped up instead of like, wait, there's sand over here, and let me see if I can grab it. It's pouring out of my hands.
100%.
Like, it's just,
And don't get me wrong, like where we work, like we do work in comedy. We do work like IMC, the Dirty Show every Monday night. That's the Dirty Show isn't necessarily the place to, in the 6 minutes where we're talking in a whisper because there's someone on stage, unpack the full breadth of feeling that I'm going through for having lost my
Right.
mother. Do you know what I
Right.
mean?
that's where I found out.
Yes.
Was at the dark comedy table in the back. I was like, I haven't seen you in a while. Where you been? You were like, my mom passed. I was like,
And I feel compelled
Yeah.
to like take care of you because I'm emceeing the show, and I don't want to send you on stage considering my mother's mortality.
Yeah,
That's not
sure.
that's
but
not
then,
my
but
job.
then you're here and you're doing your great job as always. Like,
I
it's
love
just
you.
such
You're
a
amazing.
the best. Oh, it's so wild.
But you know what's crazy? The first night I went back, Shane Gillis came on
Yeah.
and did like a guest spot,
Uh-huh.
and I always love seeing Shane. He's an unbelievably like
So funny.
he's so warm
Yeah.
and genuine, and like I think it's because he works with people with Down syndrome. I love people with Down syndrome. My dad was a psychiatrist, so the entire first floor of our house was full of people who were neurodivergent and struggling. And I love Down syndrome. And so he just has this warmth that I just like want
Yeah.
to eat his whole face. And so I connect with him. I warm up. It was so nice to see him. And then he went on stage and he was doing a bit about like how every little kid is their mom's gay best friend. And it was like I did, you know what I mean? It was
Yeah.
just like, oh shit. Like am I ready? Was I ready to leave the house? Like, because this is like, it was more than I could. So that's the nature of it. The nature of it is that you don't control all of these foreign factors. You don't control when people are going to die. I will say, though, that the alternative is the thing that's unfathomable. right? For a parent to lose their kid,
Yeah.
that's, I would do anything to stop that from happening. It is the natural order of things.
Natural order
Right.
of life.
That we, at some point, lay our parents to rest,
Yeah.
right? That is the preferable outcome. And so when it happens, and you know, we're also fortunate for the universality of it, that I'm the first one whose mother died. Did you know that? Did you know that?
Yeah.
Like no
No
one's
one
mother
else's
has ever
will
No
done
one
this.
else has ever experienced.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
here I am talking to someone who has 5.5 years on me in terms of grief.
Yeah.
And
Where do you feel you are in the process right now? It's still so fresh and so new.
well, I
And
just
then-
dug up the Shane Gillis thing, so that was just pain,
Yeah.
like personified.
Well,
But
it comes.
yeah, I mean, I don't know. There's her funeral portrait is in my office. I look at it. I think of her. There's guilt, and there's
That's what I want to talk about. I want to talk
Guilt.
about that so much.
Oh, we're out of time though, babe.
We can do
We need to do a part 2. We could do 2. Yeah, let's do a
2
couple.
more
Yeah,
minutes.
we
No,
can do a
guilt
couple.
is crazy.
Like, yeah, what are the residual feelings that you felt after she passed? I felt a lot of anger. I felt a lot of resentment. I felt deep sadness. And I also felt an immense amount of guilt that I didn't do enough. Talk
All of
about
those are
yours.
exactly right. I genuinely, because my brother was such a pig and he was trying to disinherit me, because that thing happened, my grief was like, I all of a sudden had to like square up and
Yeah.
figure out how not to get fucked by this person for the 800th time
After they
in
fucked
my
you
life.
your entire life.
My entire life. So I didn't have this like terrific luxury of landing in a soft place.
Yeah.
But every feeling you just named, right? Like the anger, like, bitch, you didn't, my whole life you left me subject to this fucker.
Yep.
Do you know what I mean?
Yep.
And God bless her. In the end, she was trying to hire a lawyer to fight him. She was, but she had 2 months to live. She didn't know that. Right?
Yeah.
So I don't know. There is in general a rapturous feeling that I think when I'm at my best in terms of coping with it and relating to it, it's the acceptance that it's all of these things.
Yeah.
Right?
Yep.
Right? That there was a life that I was touched by, that the sum of her work, I am grateful for it. I'm so grateful to be descended from her. There's like a magic about her. She was an atomic human being. Going through her photos for her funeral, my God, what a looker, what a cunt. You know, I'm so proud. I'm so proud to have her cunt blood in me. A demon too, my God. Like she'd square up against men, like
Yeah.
proper, like educated Iranian men, quote chapter and verse, argue them under the table. I love to have her blood in me. And there's pity. There's immense pity
Yeah.
for the life that she had. And you know, at the end of the day, when you consider all of the suffering and everything that a person survives, it's like when they lowered her into the ground in Azerbaijani, my second language, I said goyatsı, which means like let her sleep.
Yeah.
Like all of the ceremony and like they took her 2 weeks to bury her and all. It was just like let the bitch
Let her
sleep.
go.
Let her girl take a nap. Like
Yeah.
Wow.
and I think that that's probably where I leave it. Is just like, God, like let them out of this
Yeah.
thing.
Yeah.
Let them out of this thing.
But that's the complex thing about death and legacy and memory of someone that is loved is we as Americans in our culture tend to be like this amazing life that they led and look at how incredible they are. But like something that I'm reconciling with right now is being like, no, my mom was fucking terrible. She was a terrible mom, but she was also an amazing mom. And she was like so loving, but also terrible.
Yeah.
And also really depressed and never got the help, but also the most optimistic person I know, the
Yeah,
strongest person I know, and the
yeah,
weakest
yeah.
person. It's seeing
She
that your
showed up.
parents and your family, they are all of those things. She's the cunt blood, but she's also, you know, she is the sum of all of her parts.
Deeply wounded. Yeah.
Deeply wounded.
Wow.
Yeah.
It's beautiful. But
Yeah.
so we have to celebrate the awful with the beautiful parts of it as well.
I love
Which is
having gotten to
complicated.
talk to you, and you and I feel like I didn't like
No,
because it was just Dead Moms Club so hard.
No, this is.
I get to work with you all the time. It's
we get to
great.
work
I'll see
together.
you. I love you.
No, I love you.
Yeah.
This was perfect. I knew this was
Yeah.
going to happen.
Yeah.
And I kept being like, no, I'm like, nope, just they have.
Yeah.
They
I
have-
love you so much.
they're-
Thank you
this
for
is
like
beautiful.
facilitating it. It
No,
was
this
really
was
nice.
it's also such a beautiful conversation to witness because as someone who hasn't gone through it, it's like I know this will happen. I know that this will happen, and I feel not equipped for it, but knowing that
No one is.
That's that Middle Eastern witchcraft I was talking about.
Yeah.
yes, I shall make it happen. But I know now. I mean, I know that I've had you,
Yeah.
and I know I have you. Like, it's just, and
boy.
this is why we do
Man,
this. Is why
so
we're having these
beautiful.
conversations. Is to like, to your point of like being an open book before. It's like, just people need to know that they have people, that they're not alone in this process, that these particularly this feeling of like the guilt and the anger, like we talk about like this person passed and how wonderful they were, and it's like there's a lot of complicated feelings.
And people don't talk in general, right?
Yes.
Like, and that is actually what I think like a service of a podcast or a service of a conversation like this is that like, if nothing else, if somebody can ape any portion of this dialogue, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
If anybody can like identify with and gain language for what they're feeling, because not everyone is a chatty fag. Not
Welcome
everyone.
to the stage, Chatty Fag.
Chatty fag. But it's like,
Getting money with chatty fag.
do you know what I mean? Like,
Can I say it?
That's it.
Cancelled.
Yeah.
catch this chatty faggotry.
Oh my God.
Happy Pride. Thank you guys so much.
Thank you so much for being here,
Mehran,
tell our folks where they can find you.
I'm on Instagram at MehranX. I barely do any kind of social media. At some point, I'm going to get better about that.
But you can see him at the Comedy Cellar.
Oh
all
yeah,
the
I'm at the
time.
Comedy Cellar all the time.
Amazing.
And we like to end each episode with a rapid fire round of 10 questions.
Oh fuck! I was just
Well, no,
gonna
it's
run
gonna be
out.
rapid fire.
Okay.
So
Rapid fire question.
You're gonna be rapid fire. So pick.
Okay, here we go.
Okay, here we go.
Okay.
Rapid fire.
Ready, go. Favorite season?
Late spring.
Would you rather hug a lion or be hugged by a bear?
Ooh, hug a lion.
Cake or pie?
Hey,
Summer or Winter Olympics?
summer.
If you could magically speak any language, which would you choose?
Something old like Sanskrit or Aramaic.
Oh, beautiful. That's a great answer. I never would have guessed that.
Incredible answer.
Wow. Okay, navy blue or sky blue?
Sky.
Okay, I need the answer in pounds. How much wood would a woodchuck chuck if a woodchuck could chuck wood?
And pound.
And pound. Great.
And-
Okay. How do you say thank you in Spanish?
Gracias.
Beautiful. De nada. Bueno. Okay, you're out dancing. Is the last song Beyonce or Donna Summer?
Donna Summer, you motherfucker. Are you kidding me? It's a no-brainer.
Oh my God, thank God. Okay, Apple or PC?
Huh?
Apple or PC?
Gaming PC. Sorry.
Wow,
Yeah.
we have a gamer. A Gaymer. I love it.
That's it?
That's
That's
it.
it.
I made it! Thank you guys so much.
Mehran,
it was
you're
the best.
amazing.
Thank you
That
guys.
was
You guys
That was
are
such a
amazing.
beautiful conversation.
Such a
Thank you.
lovely
I love you
conversation.
guys.
Love you. And thank you so much for listening and watching Into the Mud podcast. You can follow us along at all platforms, like and subscribe, and we love you so much.
Yes, amazing.
Bye.
Thanks, y'all. Love you. Bye. Yay.